NC Port. Good for the plate, great for the state.
Our next guest was one of the best players in the history of Johns Hopkins. He was an assistant coach in the NBA, also at Florida State under our old friend Leonard Hamilton, and he's been a very successful head coach at Florida Gulf Coast, remember Dunk City, and also over the last or previous 11 seasons at Southern Cal. We now get to introduce him again as an ACC guy. He's the second-year head coach of the SMU Mustangs, 24 wins last year and an NIT trip. Andy Enfield, welcome to the North Carolina Sports Network. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you, David.
It's great to see you. You and I both grew up in Pennsylvania. I had the ACC on my radar before falling in love with it much later. When you were introduced as SMU's coach prior to last season, you mentioned your ACC roots. How did that come about for you as a young guy?
Well, I grew up an ACC fan, being from southern Pennsylvania. Really followed the Big East and the ACC especially. All the great tradition, the rivalry games, and so it meant a lot to me growing up because it really motivated me to become a basketball player in high school and in college.
One of the cool parts of your story is that you were an entrepreneur as a young man, and your shooting ability at Johns Hopkins led you to create videos that you were selling back before you became a full-time coach. Where did that entrepreneurial spirit come from? Because I have another question about you investing in a company that took off.
Well, setting the free throw record in college history gave me a platform. I never played in the NBA, but I wanted to become a shooting coach in the NBA and then help younger players, high school, grade school kids, learn how to shoot the basketball correctly. I changed my technique when I was younger. Fortunately, my father was a coach and taught me how to shoot the ball the right way. And so to make the videos, the old one was on VHS. That's back in the day. Then a DVD copy, and now you can just do it on your cell phone. So the entrepreneurial spirit just stemmed from wanting to do something in the game of basketball, especially with the shooting.
As a young man, again outside of basketball, you were involved with a company called Tract Manager, and I read that part of your compensation was just being a minority owner in the company. It later sold for $500 million or something like that. Where did that decision come from? Because I imagine it paid off in ways much higher than a higher salary would have.
Well, that number might be a little overstated, but the company was successful. I had the opportunity to work with some brilliant people there. It was a really good experience for me to have such amazing co-workers and the CEO and the president. So I just tried to do my part. It was a lot of fun outside of basketball to be part of a startup company that did well.
True or false, you were once busted by your wife, Amanda, because you were placing recruiting calls while she was about to give birth?
Yeah, we had our...
So true.
That is true. Our third child, Mark, and I was able to get the Florida Gulf Coast head coaching job on April 2nd, and he was born on April 8th. So trying to rebuild a program quickly, that is true. I was in the delivery room and their hospital room on the phone recruits, and at one point she couldn't hear the nurse, and so I had to go to a different hospital room when no one was in it, but I kept the recruiting call going and ended up getting the kid.
As we get to know you better on and off the court, I have to ask how you, Amanda, met. Because for those who don't know, Coach is famous in basketball and beyond. His wife has been a famous supermodel, Victoria's Secret and otherwise. I mean, that's got to be a heck of a how did you meet story.
Well, we met over basketball. She's a big sports fan. I actually gave her a ride to March Madness, and that was it.
That was the starting point?
That was the starting point, a ride to March Madness to go see the NCAA tournament. So she loved college, still loves college basketball.
Clearly, you're a good recruiter. And with that in mind, you have a lot of good recruits coming into SMU this year, building on a strong foundation. Boopie Miller, formerly of Wake Forest, we know well. I've noticed that a lot of your guys are from Texas. And in the sport of football, we're used to that. Like guys will talk about, taking advantage of a talent-rich Texas or Florida or wherever. We don't hear it quite as often in men's basketball. Why are you taking that approach with the Mustangs?
We did the same thing at University of Southern California. USC, we try to recruit Southern California players and have 11 guys playing the NBA, and most of them were from Southern California. Texas has a strong recruiting base like California. We want the Texas kids to take ownership of the SMU basketball program. Our freshman class is ranked top 5 in the country. All 5 players are from Texas, have another commitment from the state of Texas as well. So we'll try to fill in with the transfer portal around what we need, different positions. But we love the Texas recruiting base. The players are outstanding, and they want to be at SMU.
Everyone in basketball knows the name Jermaine O'Neal, famously. Jermaine O'Neal Jr. is going to be a freshman for Coach Enfield and the Mustangs this year. I heard you describe Dallas-Fort Worth, which I believe is like, what, top 5 metro area in the entire country in terms of population. We typically think of Texas as, football, Friday Night Lights and college and all the rest, Dallas Cowboys, et cetera. You referred to the Dallas-Fort Worth area as a basketball city. What all went into that description?
Well, no disrespect to football, because football is king in Texas, but basketball has a lot of a huge fan base, and the players that growing up are really good athletes. They dedicate themselves. So we're very happy. The Mavericks in town, SMU, we're the only power conference team in the city of Dallas. So the community of Dallas really supports SMU, and so it's a great situation. A lot of momentum in it, but it is a basketball city because the community supports it.
My apologies for getting the other financial number wrong earlier if I inflated it too much, but I want to ask you about another number, because SMU's boosters, I read that when the whole can we join the ACC stuff was going on, big money boosters raised, Coach, it was something like $500 million in 7 days. I swear I remember reading that. Give us a sense of how that fits into both why you took the SMU job and maybe in this new world. I mean, internal revenue sharing, that's a $20.5 million limit for everybody, but the external money matters. So how do these things give the Mustangs an advantage, and what did you know about those deep-pocketed boosters when you took this job?
Well, the story's been well documented with David Miller leading the charge and helped the very generous donors to raise, I think that 500 is a little overstated, but well over $100 million to join the ACC and to give up the television revenue for 9 years to be a part of this great conference. So SMU has an incredible, strong alumni base that love their school. That was a big part of why we decided to leave and come to SMU, go into the ACC with the support that we knew it had and the enthusiasm with those key people.
Andy Enfield joining us on the North Carolina Sports Network. There's only 3 teams in this 18-team league that have 3 or more starters back, and you're one of those. Duke lost all 5 starters. Clemson lost all 5 starters, and that's not unusual in today's world with early NBA exits in the transfer portal, obviously. How are you going to be what advantage do you see in having Boopie Miller back and B.J. Edwards back and Samit Yigitolu also back?
It's important to have continuity in your program, to have 3 returning stars. They know our system. Our fan base knows them, can develop some kind of relationship and be excited to go watch them play. Also, our young players, we have 2 redshirt freshmen and then 5 recruiting freshmen, which means we're a young team. And so it's important to have guys in your program that understand what it takes to win. And these 3 returners are very crucial to our success this season.
Whether it's Jermaine O'Neal Jr. or a Jaden Toombs or a Nigel Walls, I believe those are all both prominent freshmen and in-state guys. What is on the list of things that they would say, I chose the Mustangs? How are you differentiating yourself in a world where I'm sure those guys had lots of scholarship offers?
It's a blank slate here. It's a way to create their own legacy, to come in and play as freshmen and develop and take ownership of the SMU basketball program. We have a chance to become a national brand in basketball because of these young men, and they want that opportunity. They thrive on it, and they're very excited to do it.
Dunk City is part of what you'll always be known for. I know you've turned the page. Heck, you've had a lot of years since then, but that's always going to be, not going to be maybe on your tombstone, but it's always going to be one piece of the Andy Enfield puzzle. How do you describe your fond memories of that special time at Florida Gulf Coast when the whole nation, most of it, went from not really knowing a lot about that program to it was in all the right headlines?
Well, I think first what those players did for the school itself, the marketing and the national exposure that Dunk City gave Florida Gulf Coast University, which was really cool. Those players are special. They became a team. They had self-confidence. They played with a swagger. And we still have a very close relationship with all those young men. And it was great to go back and be inducted into the Florida Gulf Coast Hall of Fame 2 or 3 years ago with the initial class and have all those guys come back. So what they've done, and some of them are still playing professionally overseas. So just a special group, and we'll always have fond memories. And every once in a while, we'll put the highlight tape on in my office even last week when we're looking at those Dunk City fast breaks and some of the creativity of those guys, just to bring a smile to our faces and see what we can put into our system here at SMU.
Last thing for you, when you were a young guy, the ACC was often the best conference in the country in men's basketball. When you were working with Leonard Hamilton at Florida State, the ACC, maybe not every year, but was often the best conference in basketball. Your first year as a head coach in the ACC last year, the league just was not quite as good. Do you think that was an anomaly? Do you think scheduling tweaks have to happen? Do you think the league was treated unfairly? Just what's your overall snapshot of the ACC trying to get back to where it has often been?
I think that the league this year is much deeper with a lot of good players. The coaching's outstanding. So I expect a big year from the ACC and in out-of-conference games as well as in the league. So last year was frustrating because we didn't get as many teams in the NCAA tournament, including us, 24 wins. So we're just hopeful that we can keep building, and we'll try to do our part.
Andy, thanks for joining us on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, man.